He's bad.
Why do you? It's just.
You know why I don't like
silly-
him?
He
He
goes
is
doo-doo-doo.
He does do. But most of the time, Malcolm, my problem with him is I am already, like, I have a fear of AI, so robots don't help. Like, iRobot, that movie, never seen it before, but it sounds scary.
Like what? Just a generalistic fear of getting murdered by a computer?
Yeah. Or, like, computer taking over.
I mean, hey, as a person who worked in tech for a while, we got a while until they do that.
Malcolm, how old are you?
22.
22. Cool.
He sounds older than he is. It was crazy when I met him, because he was, like, 16, 15, and he had this deep of a voice. I'm like...
No way.
That's just true.
I've been told if Malcolm and I's voice swapped, it would be more realistic.
Yeah. One normal voice.
Yeah. For each face. Ah.
Honestly, we should do that, Shin. We should combine our voices.
Like the creepy doll in that one movie. Not doll, it was the twins. In The Shining.
Oh, yeah, sure. Like in The Shining, yeah.
What the hell? I was gonna do a funny cold open where we do like a good mythical morning and we're like
Ooh.
time to ask the age-old question.
Okay, wait. So there's a float plane flying over right now. Can you hear it?
No.
Nope, not at all.
Okay, good.
To the intro.
This is Waiting for Seconds, the interview podcast where we ask people. Nope, that's not how it goes. This is Waiting for Seconds, the interview podcast where we meet people and ask them who they are and why they are. I'm Malcolm Outkelt, and I'm here with Shannon Miller.
What's up?
And today we'll be talking with Sally Tonkin. I didn't ask you how to pronounce your last name.
Just pronounce it differently every time you say it.
You're gonna have to do the little bit again. You don't have to do the intro again. Just I'm do that one again.
I'm Malcolm Outkelt, and I'm here with Shannon Miller.
Hello.
Today we'll be talking with one Sally Tonkin. Go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
Hi, I'm Sally Tonkin. and I am here. And
This is
on
true.
This podcast. I'm on
in
this
this
podcast.
ethereal space, which is this podcast.
Yes.
I just realized that's the one thing we missed to say. It's like where are you from? Where do you have any family members? What's going on? That's the thing.
Do you have any family members? Do you know anybody?
Do I know anybody? Yeah, my brain totally flatlined there for a second.
It's all good.
Do I start over?
That's fine. Just tell us where you're from and what you do for a living, or some stuff related to that.
Okay. I am from Sitka, Alaska, and I am a social worker. I'm currently in school to be a licensed clinical social worker. So, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Okay, but tell us about your dog.
I was going to grab my pretend gun, but I don't have one right now. They took it away.
Oh.
My pretend gun.
Right. My dog, the most important part, his name is Theo. And sometimes he's really good, and sometimes I am at his mercy. So
he is a bastard.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
I mean,
Sometimes.
that's a perfect dog.
Sometimes. I
for
mean,
me.
tell it how it is.
Is half the time they're great and lovable, and half the time they are a bastard son of a bitch.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So sometimes it can be pretty toxic between me and him, but ultimately I'm the one that buys the dog food, so he figures it
Ultimately,
out.
he tries to gaslight you, but it doesn't work.
Yeah, he really does
He
actually.
tries.
I think.
When did you get him?
I got Theo a year and a month ago. Right after I graduated college. So it was like a post grad impulse buy for sure. For sure.
Ooh,
Didn't think it
wow.
through at all. But definitely a good decision.
And all in all, it's a good decision.
Yeah.
That's good to hear.
Through the gaslighting and what
The
did you?
gatekeeping
The
and the girl
gatekeeping.
bossing.
Through all of that Malcolm just said, he's chill. They're chill. Theo, is
Yeah,
it
my
he or
dog is
her?
he's actually they them.
Oh, got it. Shit.
Yeah, it's okay. I get it mixed up too sometimes. So
Because then they gaslight you about it.
yeah, he gaslights me about it. He'll change it up on me and then make it seem like it's my fault.
Yeah, you would. That just sounds like what he'd do.
Yeah.
Jeez. I just imagine like you and your dog are like chilling, and then maybe you come home late one night, and then he's just sitting in the recliner, and then turns on the lamp. It's just like, so where were you?
Yeah, it gets really toxic. Sometimes he screams racial slurs at me.
Ooh, that's
Whoa.
rough. Ooh. But you control the dog food, so.
Ultimately, I do, but sometimes he chooses not to eat it as if like he
Mm.
doesn't need it,
Oh, sure,
and
sure.
that hurts.
Yeah, well,
That
he
hurts.
does need it, but
Yeah.
Dang.
ultimately it's your power, but
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a good reminder. Thank you. Actually, while we're talking right now, he kind of ran out the front door. So
oh no.
Theo, that is one. That is one good thing about him, that he does go out and go potty and then come right back.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, yeah, and like he goes to where I can't even see him. Like sometimes he'll be out for 20 minutes, but he'll always come back.
He likes to shit in private.
He does, and I give him that. I give him that.
That's good of you. That's good.
As much
After
as
all
it
the gaslighting, gatekeeping.
as much as it is toxic, he
Yep.
still is like a part of the relationship.
hmm
As much as he could leave on his own, you do control the food.
Right, absolutely.
um, well, I always forget to do this, but how I know Sally is she's one of my homies at Auburn. We did Sylvan together, so we were in the choir. All 3 of my years and all 4 of her years at Auburn.
Correct,
And
correct.
many a classes, many a goofs and gaffs were had. Too
Any
many
of
to,
them?
yeah, many. There was a lot of fun Shannon or yeah, Sally and Shannon shenanigans.
Oh yeah. I love
That's what
some
I'd call it.
shenanigans.
It's Salanan shenanigans. Salananigans.
Shenanigans. Yeah.
I'm not gonna make an attempt at that,
Do
but
it.
I'm no, okay, you got me. Sla- sla- Shenanigans.
Yeah, yeah, all
Sure.
right.
Yeah. That works.
Shenanigans.
That works. Stop while you're ahead.
I think there's another
Thanks.
syllable in there you're missing, but it's all right.
No, I'm
Okay.
gonna throw up.
Don't follow up.
But after that, I'm really happy you're here. I feel like this has been a long time coming because we talked about this at Ben and Victoria's wedding, potentially,
Right.
and then now you're here. That was a
Right. It
long
took a
time ago.
while. It took a while. Well, I moved across the country and
True.
Yeah, and there was just I was looking at my calendar like every time I thought about it. But my life has kind of settled down, so I have a more set schedule, so I could fit you in.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate it.
We do.
Well, speaking of school, what was school like in your brain, especially you going to from place to place a lot?
Right. Well, school school is interesting. I'm not good at school. School doesn't come naturally to me, which is why I decided to get my master's because why not make things hard, right?
Sure.
Um, but I guess my schooling journey to me started in high school because before that it was like I was kind of tossed around during childhood and moving around and switching schools and not a lot of stability. But then I went to high school and I got to be in the same place for 4 years, which I didn't expect. Multiple times I was about ready to pack my bags because of issues with finances. So I was really thankful to be able to attend the same school in Washington for 4 years, surrounded by really great people. So to me, my high school experience was um, it was just really like it contained like every area that I needed because I went to a boarding school, and so my friends were there, and then after a while, my friends became like family, and my classmates became like family, and my choir became like family, and so it filled a lot of gaps that I didn't really get when I was younger, and so school was just something that I think. Um, it's just important to me because I think it can bring so many new experiences. I mean, it's really changed my life, and that's what it's supposed to do, I guess. So then I went to college, and I was at Union College in Lincoln, Nebraska for 4 years, and I met some amazing people, and I scraped by with my bachelor's in social work. Because again, school just doesn't come naturally to me. But I knew that social work was what I wanted to do, and since then, I've gotten to work in the field a little bit, and it's just more confirmed for me. So now I am in my master's, totally winging it and just taking it day by day.
Is it nice to actually be in one spot, like and to, to do school instead of having to go back and forth from Sitka?
Well, during that last half of college, I actually went back to Sitka like once. So I was really living in Lincoln, Nebraska. Like I had my own apartment while I was in school, and I also had an apartment after I graduated and was living there for a year. So and Lincoln was honestly home. Like it felt like when I was moving here, it felt like I was leaving home to move here because I had just made it work in Lincoln, and then it felt like home during the last year and a half of college. So that's what I mean when I say like school. School to me is just is life, I guess. School is life because
School is life.
I don't know. I don't really know what that means. But like the two biggest school experiences I've had were at Auburn and Union College, and I moved my life to go to both of those places, and I benefited so much. So I guess it was nice to really like be in one spot when I was finishing at Union. Um, and I just kind of like put Sitka in on pause in my mind, which I wasn't able to do in high school because you had to like leave during the breaks.
Right.
And my school breaks weren't always the most fun or comfortable when I would come back to Sitka. Um, it wasn't like an Alaskan vacation. It was like, okay, I'm going back home, but I don't really have any school friends or friends my age. I don't really have anything to do. So it was nice to just be fully invested in Lincoln and what I was doing. And now I'm here in one spot doing school, but I don't feel quite settled yet. So we'll
Right.
see.
Well, did you move around a lot?
Yeah, I moved when I was younger. I was born in Sitka, then I moved to Texas, and I guess I went to school there for about 5 years with like the same people. So I was really like building a foundation, but then I was kind of ripped out of that when my parents got divorced. So I moved back to Sitka and was thrown into public school where I didn't really know anyone, but everyone knew everyone. I mean,
Mm,
I had cousins who were in my class, but even they didn't really know me, and I dressed differently than people, and I just didn't quite fit in. I was lucky to make a good group of friends, um, but then I had to leave that school because I was struggling in some ways, and I went to a little private school, and so then I kind of lost those friends. So it was just like I was being shuffled around um, over a few years, like 2 school years, and I couldn't really stay plugged into any social supports. And so I didn't really get that until I went to high school in Washington.
and in high school, you found a group.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I don't even know how it happened. I feel like I found a group of people who went to the same middle school. Um,
Huh?
and I didn't even know it. My roommate at the time, we kind of had a rocky roommate relationship, but we've reconnected since then, and I should probably reach out to her. But she went to the same middle school that my soon-to-be best friend went to, and then my other best friend in high school also went to that school, and so there's like this group, and then I joined the select choir, and that was like my stronghold, my family for 4 years. And so yeah, I had good groups of people around me. It was rocky within that sometimes, but everything is.
Everything is. This is true.
Yeah.
So, do you still spend time to vacation now that you've got your feet under you, or is that kind of not a priority at this point?
Um that's a good question. I don't even know how much time I have between quarters in school, like when one quarter ends and the next begins. But when I was living in Sitka before, I feel like I didn't really get to see everything here. And so I've been really trying to experience Sitka and do things I haven't done before. It's a tiny town on a huge island, but there's only like 14 miles of road. And so there's technically not a lot to do, but there's so many trails and like beautiful things to see and stuff like that that I mean, you could be busy for weeks and
If you're
months.
if you're trying to actually know the whole island well, yeah, that's a long time.
Yeah. So if you actually search on Google or whatever your preferred search engine is, but I use Google or Safari or whatever. That's not the point. But if you search online, um,
I'm
for
doing it
the
right now.
largest for the largest city in the US by area, Sitka is actually the largest city in the US by area, the largest town.
It is. It comes up.
Yeah.
I see. I see. Wait.
Shannon, how are you
Where's-
so bad at Googling?
Stop.
It's like the easiest thing.
I don't have Firefox.
Unrelated.
Unrelated.
All I did was, oh my goodness, all I put was in the U.S. and it listed up because it's like it's got a lot of other ones, which is
Oh, by
ridiculous.
area. By
Yeah.
area.
Because
Right?
the
No,
largest city in the U.S. the most populated city.
No.
Yeah.
Largest city in the U.S. by area is what I typed in, and it comes up with multiple cities. So that's all.
You're just bad.
I'm just wrong. I know.
Yeah.
I don't
Okay,
know.
good.
Get off my
Use
back,
Google.
Malcolm.
Google
I
pulls
did.
the right thing up.
It literally,
Okay.
he's just bad at Googling things.
I don't
I
know why
want-
you're pulling up different things.
Right?
No,
You're making me sound like a liar.
You know, I trust it, but that's crazy. God damn it, Malcolm.
That is a big fucking city, though.
That is
By
a
area,
big
that's
city.
massive.
Because, like, New York's big. Like, New York City's big. LA big.
Yeah.
2,000 miles is like a lot of them.
That's a lot of miles.
That's a lot of miles.
Yeah.
So
And
are you... Sorry, go ahead.
It's because the boundaries actually go into the ocean.
Of
Yeah.
Sitka or just...
Of Sitka. Like, there's we have a
That makes
sound
sense.
called Sitka Sound, and it's
Sitka Sound.
where we're nestled in. We can still see the open ocean. Like, I can see it right now out of my window, but
Nice.
but to get to the open ocean, you have to drive out through the sound, and so the city boundaries go out into the sound, and that's why it's the biggest. But that's what I've been told. It might be wrong, but let's assume it's right.
I think that's true. The other top 4 cities, at least on Wikipedia's list, are also Alaskan and have significantly less water area than Sitka does.
Yep.
Like
Which,
Juneau.
Yeah, that tracks. Juneau?
Mm-hmm.
I guess, yeah, that probably is how I'd pronounce that.
Give
So
it
are
your
you
best
aiming
shot.
to try to explore as much as you can of Sitka? Are you trying to completionist and see the whole island?
Yeah, so I want to buy a boat. I'm very poor right now. I'm
Ooh,
very in
hell yeah.
debt to like everyone I can be in debt to. But I do want to buy a boat. I actually, when I first moved here like a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, actually 2 months ago today,
Wow.
I took a class called Boating Without the Boys. And then it's basically where a bunch of females get together and talk shit about like about
That's great.
the guys in our life who have boats, who have gatekept this knowledge from us about how to run a boat, because it's like they just kind of, I don't know, like it's just guy knowledge here, and if women want to go out on a boat, they have to find a guy with a boat that can run their boat. And so I want a boat. I want to know how to run my boat. I want to know how to fix my boat. And so that's like a long-term goal of mine, because as I said, the city boundaries go out into the sound. So when you have a boat, the water, instead of being a barrier, is a highway. And then it's like the world is your oyster. Like, I'll never have to leave. I don't know. I mean, cabin fever is a big thing here, but there's so many trails that I want to do. And there's also a giant volcano, like less than 3 miles away. I can see it outside of my window. Yeah. And I want to climb it. And there's like, yeah, it's on a different island. But there's trails on that island too. So.
And so if you just had a boat, you could just go over to that island.
I could just go over to it. And yeah, and then once I've conquered Sitka, I do want to see like the rest of Alaska, because I have not been to very many places in Alaska. Most tourists who have been to Alaska have seen more of Alaska than I have. So
Alaska's a big fucking state.
It's a big state.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a hard one.
Yeah. So so that's kind of my short / long-term goal. As far as vacationing, that's where I'm at. I think the next vacation I'm going on is for Christmas. I'm going to visit my dad, and then probably some friends that I'm going to visit as well down south in like the southern states. But not a lot of vacations going on. Me and my friend Stephanie are trying to start planning a trip to Scandinavia, like the Norway, Iceland, Greenland, Sweden, those places.
Do the whole thing, or just one or the other?
Go big or go home, you know?
There you go.
I mean, once you're over there, it's cheaper to go to all the places. It's just the getting
Sure.
over there that is expensive.
That's big
I
true.
feel like getting to Greenland would be first because that's cheapest, and then getting to the rest of them.
I don't know.
Cheaper.
Trips out of Greenland might be not great.
I don't know. I have no idea. I haven't even started looking into it, but that's gonna happen.
Once you've saved up some money, once you have the time, the vacation hours, like, yeah, that seems like a great time.
Yeah.
God, that would be so much fun. Can Malcolm and I come with you guys? Just
Sure
stuff in it.
thing.
Put this in your luggage.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
We'll just put us, yeah.
Absolutely. Stephanie's a great travel buddy.
Oh yeah.
This is the Stephanie that I also know, yeah?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Hell yeah.
So we've
Oh, yeah.
already had traveling fun together.
Mm.
You know what? Let's go into the next question then. Do you like traveling a lot? Because I mean, as a kid, if you traveled around just moving wise, I feel like that would reflect bad on wanting to like go to different places.
As a kid, like during the summers when I lived in Texas for 8 years, which is a pretty significant chunk of time,
That
I
is a chunk of
would
time.
fly to Las Vegas to visit my nana who lived there. And I would also fly to Sitka every summer. And Sitka has always been home for the most part until these like later years right before I moved back. And so I would always look forward to going back to Sitka every summer because Texas never felt like home, even though my parents were there. So traveling to me is it's just necessary. Like I don't know. I've met people when I lived in Nebraska. I met people who had never traveled out of Nebraska, and it was like I I just can't even imagine something like that. I've been to Canada and Mexico recently in the last couple of years, and I really loved that. And I don't know. I have a short term. I don't have a very good memory, so
Oh.
yeah, I really don't have very good memory at all. So like the traveling memories, those stick in my head more. And so those are like big moments in my life. So I
That's
love
nice.
traveling.
That's good to be able to like find places where you can remember good.
Yeah.
Because I often have similar problems with I have dog water memory. And so I try to find ways to remember things that I enjoy, and
Right, exactly.
being able to do that is important.
Would you say your most important moments of your life have been when you're traveling? Not necessarily vacation wise, but
I think probably just when I've gone with people who have made me really happy to like be around. Um like for example, just all of the trips I took in high school, every single one of them, because I was with my choir family. So New York, Italy, Hawaii, California, Alaska. Um, I don't know if I'm missing any. Oregon. Yeah, I think that's it. And I guess Washington.
did you go to the
Um,
Philippines?
no,
Did
I
you do
never
that
went to the
trip?
Philippines. No, I was always too poor and not
Same.
motivated enough to ask people for money.
Same.
Yeah. So, but I did go to Italy and that was really awesome. I've had some good trips since then too. Like I said, I've been to Canada with my friend Grace from high school. That was
Love
just
her.
for like an overnight trip though. Like we weren't even there for 24 hours, but that sticks in my head pretty good. Um, I also went to South Dakota with my friend Stephanie from high school, and that was a really fun trip. I went to Mexico with a friend from college, and I've done some other trips too. Like for this last New Year's, I went to Alabama to visit um my whole college like friend group kind of was there, and I didn't really make this friend group though until like the last couple of years of college, and so I feel like it's still solidifying, but it was just really special to be there, especially after everyone graduated. So that was the most recent really special trip to me was New Year's in Alabama.
I imagine it's like really nice to reconnect after like the biggest, I mean, journey people mostly have is like through high school and college, but to reconnect with people that you haven't seen uh since then is like a big deal. See how they've changed or
Yeah, it's like a huge deal to me, because after high school and after college, both times I have grieved, because it's like I don't know if these people will really stick in my life, and that makes me really sad. And so when it's confirmed for me that like, no, this is a lifelong friend, or no,
Mm.
like we will talk again, or we have reconnected, it's like super important to me because it's that means that our time wasn't lost. um so yeah, people are really important to me, and I've been through so many different groups since the beginning of high school, and on to the end of college. I've been in different communities, and each one of them has been special to me. So traveling to be with those people or traveling with them is like super cool.
huh. Yeah. Wow. I can understand why you value people so much, especially like what you were saying earlier. Your school life was kind of hard at first until you got into high school, and it was more friends and more family than friend at that point.
Yeah, I figured out how to find stability through my friends because that was like my only option at that point. But sometimes that bit me in the ass because, you're 14, 15, 16. You can't really depend on your friends for your emotional health or your like connection to people. And so sometimes that would be like, okay, well, my needs aren't being met. My friends are undependable. So I'm going to hold that against them. And so I kind of grew out of that. And so now friends are just a benefit to my life instead of like my stronghold, which is what it was like in high school. And so now people are just a blessing to me. And I don't need to depend on anyone. And so it's just like, you know, it's like getting um, a gift. It's like you would rather get something really cool that you absolutely didn't need, but you so want it, rather than, oh, socks. Thanks. I need some of those.
Avocado.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Or like something basic. So people are just more special to me as I've grown and matured. Because it's been like, I don't really need you in my life. And that's what makes it so much more special that you are in my life, is because I just want you.
Was there
Yeah.
any sort of moment of paradigm shift on that where you realized that or decided that? Maybe a betrayal of some sort or something like that? Probably not that big.
Oh,
But
Malcolm, there were so many moments.
ooh,
Juicy.
I
juicy,
juicy.
Stop. Don't say it like that.
juicy.
Juicy.
I did. I had a friendship in high school, and I'm sure she'd be fine with me talking about this, because most people in our grade knew that our friendship could be kind of toxic,
Mm,
um, and just not be good because we were both going through growing pains, and it sucked sometimes, and we would sometimes use each other. Um, and so then after high school, we stopped talking, which is not a bad thing at all. But at the time, it was like my world was ending, which of course is red flag number one, that you're in a really codependent
uh-huh.
friendship. And so the paradigm shifts happened as they do for most people in therapy. And so freshman year of college, I ran into some mental health issues, or actually, I think I became aware of some mental health issues that I was
Mm.
having, and so I got a therapist, and I just worked through stuff, and now I feel much more free, and I'm able to just exist, I guess, more peacefully.
That's good. That is nice.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm also a user of therapy, and that sounds like makes it sound like a drug.
That does make it sound like a drug.
Therapy is
But-
my drug.
Bro, you want another hit of therapy?
But like you
Every week.
recognize those things that you're like, oh, all right, I get it now a little bit. You recognize the patterns sometimes.
Yeah, the patterns that we just wouldn't be able to see otherwise.
Then you end up keeping yourself from falling into that trap again.
Yeah. I've been with the same therapist for 3 years. Actually 4 years now, which is really wild. I'm probably gonna cry during our last session, which is coming up because she's licensed in Nebraska, not Alaska. And so I've got a new therapist lined up, and I will be saying goodbye to my therapist soon, and I am not ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's done a lot for me, and my new therapist is kind of polar opposite. So it's gonna be an adjustment.
That is going to be an adjustment.
Yeah.
Well, I hope ultimately that works out, even if it is a little bit rough in the beginning and a little hard to adjust to. It usually does, all things said.
It usually does.
Well, with like this talk of therapy and stressful situations, how do you, Sally, manage your stress, or how have you changed managing your stress from like high school to now?
That's a good question. I don't really have a fixed go-to right now, which I need to take care of soon, or else it's gonna blow up, and I'm not gonna be sure what to do. So, I've been brainstorming, and I think, of course, like hiking the trails is something I've been doing this summer, but it's so hard because there's bears. There's a lot of bears here.
Ooh,
And I'm getting my concealed carry permit so that I can
Let's
carry
go.
so that I can carry a sidearm with me so that I am not at the mercy of bears. And so that I also can protect my dog. That's like the main thing. Like if I wasn't hiking with my dog, I'd be like, nah, whatever.
No, I get eaten by a bear. Damn, that sucks.
Well, I guess I'm
Well,
going,
it'll
but
be-
my dog.
But my dog, like I can't protect him.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I'm getting that this fall, and then after that I'll be unstoppable on these trails. Also, I broke 3 fingers this summer, and so I've been
Whoa.
healing from
Fuck.
that. So,
Jeez.
yeah, so like I haven't been painting like I want to, and sometimes I have a blog too, and I just haven't been able to keep up on it because
You can't type.
I can't really type. And
Yeah.
my typing maxes out with the bare minimum for my master's program. After that, like I don't want to type.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Yeah.
With fucking broken ass fingers, that sounds terrible.
Yeah,
How did-
3 of them on
How'd you
different
do
hands.
that? Oh.
So it's 2 on one hand, 1 on the other. I fell off of a swing.
Oh no.
Ouch.
And I got my fingers hooked in the chains. And
Oh
I just want
God.
to clarify, yeah, really, really awful situation.
Uh-huh.
I just laid on the ground for a second, kind of looking up at the sky and waiting for the pain to pass. Because you know how, like, when you stub your toe, it hurts so bad for a
Uh-huh.
second, and then you're fine.
And then it's gone.
That's
Yeah,
gone.
but the pain never passed. So I looked at
Oh.
my fingers, and they were not looking back at me.
Oh God.
They were pointing different directions, and it was like, okay, all right, wow.
Alright, let's
Yeah. I've never broken a bone before, so I'm just getting all 3 out of the way, just so I'll be
There you
good
go.
for years, yeah.
Jeez.
Ugh, God, that sounds terrible. I'm sorry for your
I'm
life.
sorry.
Stuck in the ugh. Ugh.
Yeah.
So I guess since you really can't paint right now, is that like your kind of form of managing stress? Is just to be creative and outlet, to just kind of make paintings, I guess,
Um,
or art
well,
things.
well, that's what it's going to turn into now that I moved to Sitka. I kind of stopped that while I was in college, because I found that my biggest stress reliever in college was being around people, and friends. I'm an extrovert at the core. Like, I am 100% extrovert, which is a blessing and a curse. Um, and so my biggest stress reliever would be being in social places and connecting with people. So I didn't really have any like forms of self-care because it would just kind of naturally happen. But now I'm in Sitka. I don't really have friends my age here yet. Hopefully that'll change. So I need to kind of go within and find the peace from within.
Sounds like you need to do some yoga.
I
don't know.
can't because my fingers are broken.
Oh, man.
Wow, Shannon.
Oh my gosh. I'm so insensitive.
Wow, you're so
Yeah.
insensitive, so disrespectful.
That one hurt.
Yeah, just like your
Just
fingers.
like your fingers.
Yeah, I'm gonna hang up now.
Oh,
Kidding.
That's fair.
Well-
No, that's fair. We get it. Yeah.
she can't press the button. God. We're monsters.
We are.
Oh, man.
Okay, I'm gonna ask a question I might already know the answer to because of how you and Shannon met. Are you religious? Are you spiritual in any way?
I am, yeah. I'm a Seventh-day Adventist Christian. Yeah, and that's me. I wasn't always. When I went to Auburn Adventist Academy in Auburn, Washington for high school, I was not an Adventist. I probably wasn't an Adventist until like my junior year. Like, I didn't call myself an Adventist. I I didn't really practice Adventism more than what I had to per the requirements of the school. And then ever since then, I've just come across some really special mentors that have just made it click for me. So yeah, I'm a Seventh-day Adventist.
Hell yeah. Has it affected your choice of career or other similar things?
I'm not sure. So I'm a social worker. I started out in college as a vocal performance major.
That's the Sally I know.
Yeah, absolutely. That was me in high school. That was me my freshman year of college. And it's definitely still me. She's still in there.
There we go.
And I will always wonder what would have happened if I stuck with that. But then I changed my major, and it was a very impulsive decision. It was like, huh, social work. Okay, I'll do that. I was actually in Sitka on winter break, and I was watching Friends. Have either of you ever seen Friends, like the TV show?
Oh,
I've seen bits and clips.
they're friends.
Well, there's
They're friends.
They're friends.
yeah, they're friends. That's the plot.
That's the plot. That's the idea.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, there's a scene in like the very last season where two of them they got married seasons before, so they're adopting a child, and a social worker walks onto the scene to check out their apartment and see if they're fit parents. And I saw that, and I was thinking about social work, and then the next day I changed my major. So
You know what?
really
Fair enough.
impulsive. Yeah.
And has that been a good decision for you?
Yeah, it's what I do. It's who I am. There's so many areas of social work that I didn't know about when I changed my major. You can work
You know
with
about the part where you walked on the scene and looked at a house
Yeah,
and said, "Yeah, you can have kids."
that's all I knew about. I was like, okay, cool, I can do that. But then I changed my major and I learned about you can work in hospice care, you can do basic medical social work, you can work for the VA, you can work for elderly people, end of life care. youth, troubled youth, alcoholic youth, youth of different races. You can work in schools. You can work with nutrition. You can work with Medicaid. So I work specifically with substance use and Native Americans. That was my last job in Lincoln, and that's the job I have now. So I really love it.
Wow. That's awesome.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also really shocked that there is so much social work that I just did not know. But it makes sense.
I mean,
it's like
yeah,
engineering, social work, medicine. It's just a classification, and then there's the sub classifications.
Yeah, you can also do policy with social work. So you can be a lobbyist. You can
Okay.
work for campaigns of politicians. You can be a politician, which I think would be really cool. You can do therapy. Gosh, the world is my oyster. Actually, I'm wearing a shirt right now that's really fitting. Well, it fits, but it's fitting to the conversation. Um, it says social worker, I'll be there for you. And it looks like the title of Friends, like the font, and there's some colorful dots that is in the title of Friends. And so that's interesting. Okay, next question.
That's a fun shirt.
That's a fun shirt. Is
It's a
Friends
fun
good?
shirt. Yeah, it's a good show.
That's good.
I probably would like it. I liked How I Met Your Mother and
Yeah, sitcoms. Those are
New
good.
Girl. I love New
New
Girl.
Girl's good. Right now I'm watching Schitt's Creek, and I love Schitt's Creek.
I've heard good things about Schitt's Creek.
I have
I'm
too.
obsessed with it. I'm actually writing a paper on it in one of my classes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Ah.
So watch that show. It's really good.
Huh.
You'll cry at the end.
Viewers of podcast, watch show Schitt's Creek and also Friends.
Yeah.
Well, I think we haven't asked this question in a while, but it is a kind of common theme on our podcast, is this idea of nature versus nurture and what's more important. And since you worked in social working, I feel like you would have a really good opinion about that. What is your opinion of nature versus nurture? Which is more important, or are they both important?
Okay. Well, I might have a lot of thoughts about this, and so if I ramble on, feel free to interrupt with a question or something.
Feel free to ramble.
Okay.
No big deal.
I think they're both so intertwined. Like, I would have clients when I was more of a formal social worker. I was a case manager when I was working in Lincoln for the Ponca tribe of Nebraska. I would have clients walk in with just a slew of problems, like really addicted to meth and having trouble managing their finances. Maybe they're homeless. Maybe they have a lot of aggression, and so they can't hold down any friends. Or maybe they have a really dependent personality, and so they're trying to get sober, but they're just leaning on their buddies that they use with because they depend on them for love and connection, but they're not really friends. And so, like, there's all these different dynamics that one person can hold at the same time. And I think that that's just the result of nature versus nurture. I think that nurture can almost take over nature. Like, you can come into the world with traits that are going to be unlocked. And certain characteristics passed down by your family with certain shaped earlobes. But if the world cuts off your earlobes, then nature's gone and all you have is nurture, right? so so I think especially with like people who are in tough situations as they live and grow up, um nurture can really make or break a person in a way that nature doesn't have the power to do. Like, you can be the smartest person on earth, but if you're in a crappy school, then you're not going to go as far as you would be in a school that's going to take you far. And that's just, I feel like, reality. Some people might disagree, but so I think nature and nurture really combine. Nurture feeds into our nature feeds into our resiliency. So we can be really resilient people, and that can be handed down through the family, and that can help us through nurture and make everything the best of what it can be. But yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah,
So
I
so
think
from
that makes a lot of sense.
from my understanding, your nature is what you are supposed to be, I guess. Like maybe even societal standards or family standards, but nurture is just life happening around you. Well, what the choices that either you make or no, I guess that would be it. It's just the choices you make.
You're saying that's nurture?
Yes.
I think that it's more the choices that are made around us. Like choices we make are part of us, and maybe that starts out as more nature, but then things happen that aren't in our control, and that nurtures us in various ways. Um, or that feeds into that concept of nurture, of like the world is changing and impacting and affecting you. And so that's, I don't know, I think it's choices other people can make as well that affect us, that can be our nurture.
But in a sense, we can't have one without the other.
Yeah, like how I handle the things that happen in my everyday life that can be traumatic, or that can just be run of the mill, is about resiliency. Like, how am I going to bounce back from these tough things? And I think resiliency is nature. Being resilient about recovering from traumatic events in life that happen to everyone. Um, that's nature. That's resiliency isn't something that can be taught. It can be uncovered, but it's within you, and I think that's nature.
Something that has to be uncovered. That's not something we've heard before. Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a new one.
That's a new one for the books.
I think it makes sense. Try
No,
it.
it does track. I mean, shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's just how I feel.
Have you seen any examples of maybe in your own life of your nature uh being uncovered?
Um, that's a good question.
Or even in your clients? I know if that's actually maybe a little illegal. You're not using names, so it's like
Yeah, that's not illegal. I don't know. Right now, I work in adult treatment for substance use disorders, and it is so heartwarming to see them from when they first come into treatment to when they're getting ready to leave, like the changes that happen. There's one girl that just came in a couple weeks ago, and she's starting to really contribute in ways that she wasn't at the beginning. And so I told another resident I just love the traits and the gifts that get uncovered. Like the nature is able to come back out of the trauma, which can also be nurture. Um, and so I think that um, when safety is put back into the situation, our natural selves can come to play, and so our resiliency comes back, and we're able to be more authentic and feel safe to do so. So I think nature is always there, and nurture can change it, and impact it, cover it up, reveal it. Um, but nature is always beautiful, and so I love seeing it when clients come into treatment, and then it's like, there you are, I see you, you're back.
That's
That
absolutely
is
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never when asking this question, I have never really thought that nature and nurture could be good or bad. Usually
Yeah.
nature is the good part of it, but nurture trauma is a nurture. It's not a good one, but it's nurture nonetheless.
Yeah, a lot of the time we hear nurture and we think like, oh, safety and stuff. But no, nurture it can be a neutral term, like just impact,
Yeah. Ultimately, that is
nature
what it
versus
is.
impact.
It's
Huh.
just your origin versus your impact.
Yeah. Also, nature can be bad as well. Like I've got some traits in me that I try to weed out that just kind of came with like a buy one get one.
Buy one get one. Unfortunately free. But put
Yeah.
it in your basket.
Like, oh,
Well,
that came from a mother's side or something like that. I don't know.
All right. Well,
uh,
I would love to ask just one more question. And this is one that I am interested on your personal take on as a social worker. Do
Uh-huh.
you think it is, or how would I rephrase? How do you live an ethical life? And furthermore, is it possible to do so in this world that we are in?
Oh.
If you'd like to swap the word
Oh.
ethical for moral, please feel free to do that.
I think um there are various takes that there are various directions that this question can go. Like that opens a whole can of worms with religion. Like, how do you live an ethical life? I mean, there's a whole book
Mhm.
written on it called the Bible or the Quran or any of
There's a
those.
lot of books about that.
There's a lot of books about that. But just like naturally, I feel like um, a lot of people can feel an ethical life within them. There's this thing called cognitive dissonance, and it's where when reality doesn't match with what we're feeling, or when we've got different feelings, different tracks of thought inside that aren't matching with each other. And so we've got this thing where we're like, it's just really uncomfortable, and I'm not sure where to go from here or how to feel. And I think that's like the biggest message from our inner selves or from God or however you want to look at it, that something is not right. And so we need to check in. And then when we're at peace, um, I think that's the biggest indicator of morality within us, especially when we're at peace with the people around us. Because ethics is really external. That's like how you're treating other people, how you're protecting other people, uh, how you're responding to other people. And so when you're feeling at peace with other people and when things are communicated that they're feeling at peace with you, then you might be able to assume that you're living an ethical life. But I don't know if that can be swapped with moral because, um, like, if you and your bestie's favorite hobby is to tag buildings and steal things from stores, you might be ethical to your friends and feeling good about that. But you might not be being moral. And and of course, stealing things and committing crimes is unethical, but if you're getting away with it, you're not getting any of that internal feedback from the people you're affecting. So you can't really use that as a marker for ethics. I don't know if any of that makes sense, but I think that
I think it
there's
does.
yeah.
It's
okay.
about being at peace and like reflection and the reflection of others, but those two things are not necessarily the same.
Yeah, like I don't know. I think ethics and morality is a certain give and take. Like, am I happy with people and are people happy with me? And am I treating people safely and are people treating me with safety and respect? And so kind of looking at that flow between you and not you is a good marker as well for what is ethics. For me in my personal life, I just try not to be selfish and I try to be understanding of others. And when that's happening, I think I'm okay, because sometimes that doesn't happen. And I know when that's not okay because it doesn't feel okay. It's that cognitive dissonance.
It's that, like, I know that this is bad because I feel bad about it, because I feel that I am hurting someone, and so I can't be doing things right.
Yeah, and that's within everyone. Unless they're like a narcissist or something like that, like a really evil person. But for the most part, people have a sense of empathy and a sense of guilt, and both things come into play when it needs to, because we're built that way.
Damn.
I think that makes
Yeah.
sense. So you would say that you do live an ethical or perhaps moral life, perhaps both?
Um,
I realize
I
that's a very hard question.
that is so hard. I'm trying to think of like, all the bad things I've ever done.
Wow.
I
uh,
didn't mean to bring that up. That's my bad.
I think I live an ethical life, like um finding self-centeredness in the actions we do is so difficult. So it's like, am I really doing this out of the goodness of my heart, or am I benefiting from this? And can both happen at the same time? Is both ethical? Like what is ethics? I think if you were to ask the people who are close to me if I'm ethical and moral, they would say 100% yes. But also, if you were to ask the people that were close to Hitler if he was ethical and moral,
He's a
Oh,
great moral. Yeah.
they
is
would
Oh, that's not
100%
outstanding.
say heck
not
yeah.
necessarily a great. Yeah.
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 I'm glad we're all in this together.
Yeah.
I guess in that way, that idea of ethics just really comes to the eye of the beholder. Because it's hard to look, like you were even saying, like it's hard to look inside yourself, but your friends would say otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, I think that's all we can really say is, do we live an ethical and moral life? Well, the only way to know is to try your damnedest and hope that in the end you did.
Just like Hitler, right?
Just
Sure.
just like Hitler.
Just like the
Just
big
like
And
guy.
Hitler.
that's where the end of the
That's
podcast
yep,
is.
yep. That's it. We're done.
We're calling this the Hitler episode.
Oh God.
We
No.
can't.
Oh
We can't.
no.
Ah, shit.
They're named
Disclaimer,
after
we
the
do
people
not
we interview. We
condone.
can't.
We do
We do
not
not.
condone Hitler's actions.
He is not ethical in our eyes. We are the beholder.
He is a
But
mean
man,
guy.
is he committed.
Oh God.
Jeez. Well, thanks for coming on our podcast, Sally. This has been a lot of fun.
It
I
has.
had a great time.
We got a lot of what's the word? I was gonna say introspection, but that's most of our episodes. But I was like your opinions of. I mean, now that you've been through social working and to see life in maybe a different way, it's refreshing. Because
Thanks.
maybe some people only have a more blank. I don't know where I'm going with this.
I don't.
It's thanks, Mom.
A less nuanced view, maybe. I've gained some nuance.
Yeah, it's. I wouldn't say it's necessarily just with you, but it's your knowledge that you have now, and just to hear it is different.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been so impactful to have people sit in front of me at their lowest moments, and it's just opened my eyes to the human condition in a way that I didn't see before and I couldn't learn in therapy. It's been a really experiential experience. So yeah, I think I've gained a lot of wisdom just from sitting with people and learning from them. So
Yeah.
thanks.
So I'm gonna do a little bit of housekeeping stuff. Thank you everybody for listening to this podcast. I already fucked it up. But we have our lovely artist Nadia Diaz, who designed our podcast cover art. Her Instagram is @artheadcreations. And I will have that linked down in the description. She also has a portfolio where she posts like her animation content. And she also has her TikTok, which is the same, like it's at Arthead Creations on TikTok. And check her out.
It's really good shit.
Her portfolio is www.nadiadiazvfx.com. That's for all the fun animation stuff. And then
You have
also
money? Hire her. She's
yeah,
great.
pay her to
For
do
your
art
money.
related things. Make fun paintings for you or other things. I imagine she does.
She does art. She has a resume on her website. Check it out.
I
Check it
think
out.
she designs tattoos too.
Oh, does she?
I think
Oh,
she does. She's
That's
done that a time or two.
I gotta hit her up for that. I've been wanting to design a tattoo. But
Yeah.
anyways, thank you also to Jensen Krall, who made our intro and outro for the podcast. Check out his demo for his musical Tea Time called Knocking on Doors. You can check that out on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music. He also wrapped up his I want to call it BMI workshop, which was musical theater workshop. So congratulations to Jensen for that project, if he's listening.
I'm sure it went great.
It looked great. I'm kind of proud of him. But you can find that song in the description. And then also, we have an email address. Waiting 4 seconds. It's waiting the number 4 seconds at gmail.com. And I think that's it. But send us your questions there, or maybe you have guest suggestions. Feel free to just email us and say hi or something. And we'll get back to you. And we'll say hi back. Malcolm will.
I will. I promise.
But anyways, thanks again, Sally, for coming on our podcast and
Yeah, it was
hanging
good
out.
meeting you, Sally.
I had the best time.
So
Well,
oh, go ahead, Malcolm. I'm sorry.
I was just saying that's good.
Sorry. Until next time, we'll see you guys next episode. Onless Jed.
Almost Jed.
Bye.